Welcome to our roundtable, and we're going to start off by talking to Kelly Ziegner, the President and CEO of United Way Elgin Middlesex. So Kelly, things are looking a little different at the 3M Harvest Lunch and United Way campaign launch, obviously, this year. Tell us about what's new.
So things sure are looking a little different. Each year at the 3M Harvest Lunch, you're used to seeing us serve up all kinds of fun, from the police rappelling from the ceiling, to ponies trotting in, to sandwiches being shot out of a t-shirt cannon. But this year we're serving up something a little bit different. We're serving up some local love. So with everybody's ticket purchase, we're buying a meal for someone in need from a local business, and those will be served up at our United Way funded agencies. So we couldn't think of a better way to support our community and to serve up local love this year.
Next up, let me introduce Penny Wise, the President of 3M Canada. Penny, 3M is a global leader, and 3M Canada is playing such a vital role in our community. Thank you for the mask. Thank you. How is 3M responding to local needs during this unprecedented time? Obviously. How do you see 3M's and United Way's values aligning to serve our community?
So globally, 3M has been playing a critical role in the response to COVID-19. Around the world, we've been providing personal protective equipment for healthcare agencies as well as government agencies to make sure our healthcare and frontline workers are protected. We've also been continuing to manufacture products that are used in other manufacturing or business essential services and making sure all workers are safe. At 3M Canada, we're very proud that we have partnered with the federal government and the government of Ontario to manufacture N95 respirators in Ontario. This is part of Canada's resiliency plan, and we're very proud to be part of the solution to protect those healthcare workers, those frontline workers, and our critical infrastructure workers. But throughout all of the personal protective equipment that we manufacture and that we've been sharing around the world, I am incredibly proud of the 3M people and the people here at 3M Canada. Throughout the uncertainty, throughout the fear, throughout the nervousness, throughout the unknown, they have risen above their challenges and really thought about how to take care of others. At one of our very first town halls after we all went into lockdown, one of the first questions I received from a 3M Canada employee was around how children who were getting breakfast at school prior to schools closing, how would they be able to eat moving forward, and what could we do to make sure they had enough food? And that really touched me, because in spite of all the activity going around and all that uncertainty, we were dedicated to making sure that people were safe and people were fed and people were cared for, and that really is at the heart of our 3M spirit. And that spirit has continued as we've moved through the pandemic. As we moved into lockdown, I reached out to Kelly in the first couple of weeks and said, what can we do to help? And we were the lead sponsor in responding to the COVID-19 Response and Recovery Fund. And we were very pleased to be part of that solution. In addition to that, in addition to the $50,000 that we provided to that fund, our employees at 3M Canada have also raised an additional $20,000 for that fund. And as we move in to the United Way campaign season, 3Mers are continuing to provide community giving as well as volunteerism, whether it's packing backpacks or the harvest lunch and providing lunches or meals to those in need, or our subject matter experts who are helping us and helping the United Way do virtual volunteerism. It's all about being part of the community and giving back and supporting.
Next, I'd like to talk to Diane Piedad, who is a 3M Gives volunteer. And Diane, I know you're a longtime 3M Gives volunteer and a United Way supporter. I understand that 3M Harvest Lunch is your workplace United Way campaign kickoff. What are your campaign committee's plans this year? And a couple of other questions. What are you excited about, and have you set any goals?
Thanks for the question. So we are very excited about this year's campaign. Our campaign at 3M Canada is a national campaign. It is not just based in London. It is for all of our employees across the country. And the nice thing about our campaign is in previous years, we've had an employee online auction. And that employee online auction instills that all employees across the company and across the country can participate and bid on items for the United Way. What we're also doing this year that's a little bit that we've done in previous years is we're continuing with our online payroll deduction, which is a huge part of our campaign and a huge success for our campaign also. And really this year we would like to raise awareness for the United Way with our employees across Canada.
Our next question is for Trevor Squires, who is the United Way campaign chair and chief ChangeMaker and the general manager at McCormick Canada. Trevor, my mask is a little funny right here, but Trevor, you're about to lead our region's most important fundraising campaign, of course, in the middle of a pandemic, even better. So how are you feeling about that? What's keeping you up at night, if anything, and what gives you hope?
Wow. Hey, a lot of questions there. Thank you for that. But first and foremost, I'm very excited to have McCormick and myself take on the role of Chief Changemaker for the United Way campaign this year. Honestly, the pandemic has really only heightened that excitement because it's really forced us to really think differently and have to use probably the most overused term in the world right now, pivot, some of the things that we're doing and our thoughts. But I think the 3M Harvest Lunch is just an outstanding example of that pivot to take something that was ingrained and successful and make it even more successful this year. So very excited about that. Turning to, I'll handle the hope question next. There's really two things that give me a lot of hope. One is just going out and seeing the engagement in the community and just seeing how people are really pulling together. In a time of crisis, I think that the community comes together to do many good things, and seeing that firsthand in this role has just been wonderful. The second thing that gives me a lot of hope is the wonderful people at the United Way, as well as the campaign cabinet that we've collected, and just really seeing them dig down again into that community, go out, talk to personal people for personal giving, as well as corporations like 3M and many others in the London community that are really stepping up to the plate. And I'm excited to say that I feel we'll have another successful campaign this year. What keeps me up at night is probably what you're going to hear a lot of, and is what we're doing here today to try and raise money, is we're going to have a lot of need in the community. I'm certain of that, especially as we get into the fall and colder weather. So, you know, it's doing everything we can to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward.
Thank you, Trevor. Kelly, picking up on Trevor's comment about the needs in our community, what is the United Way seeing across the region, and why is this year's campaign more important than ever?
So last year we talked a lot about the unignorable issues in our community. So before the pandemic, London was ranked 3rd in the country for child poverty. And as Penny referenced in her remarks, you know, that means that kids were going to school hungry, and that was before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, that didn't change, and things only got worse for families. So at the South London Neighbourhood Resource Centre, they have a food hamper, and every month they were seeing about 100 families come into their program. Now, after COVID, that's 1,000 families are coming each month. So we know that the need is exploding. And then when we think of mental health, all of us have had some sort of mental health impact because of this pandemic. There's so much uncertainty, whether you're worried about your kids' education, whether you're worried about your own personal finances, or taking care of loved ones. Our mental health is really taking a toll, and the CMHA is seeing an explosion in calls, so a 43% increase since COVID hit. So we know that we had big issues as a community before COVID, and those can only continue to build and get worse. And so now is the time that we need everybody to dig a little deeper if they can, and to support this year's United Way campaign, because it's more important than ever.
Trevor, back to you for a second. It sounds like a lot of people in this community, of course, from what you're saying and Kelly is saying, are really depending on you and the United Way for a successful campaign this year. So 2 questions. Why are you personally committed to this daunting task of this campaign? And as a global company, why is McCormick committed?
That one's really easy. Honestly, the reasons really blend together. Both for myself and McCormick, giving back to the communities where we live and work is an extremely important part of what we do. We think about it every day. We have a creed that we live by at McCormick called purpose-led performance, and that involves giving back to communities that really need it. We have over 600 employees here in London, Elgin Middlesex, and they all have personal reasons why they support the United Way. And, you know, I couldn't be more proud of seeing how they raise to that challenge. And each and every year we do put on a very successful campaign, and we're all in again this year. So both myself and the company have a long-standing commitment as well as relationship with the United Way. And we expect to see that continue for many more years to come. We just think that that agency is best suited to really target funds where they're most needed in the community, especially in times like this with the pandemic and heightened need as we go into the winter.
Well, Dave, you know, it sounds like we're ready for a fantastic United Way campaign. So let's get out there and this year show our local love.
And before we sign off from the roundtable, we'd like to thank our incredible sponsors and friends. Without them, the 3M Harvest Lunch and the United Way campaign launch wouldn't be possible. Obviously, a big thank you to 3M Canada, Bifana Boys, Big Daddy Bacon, my big fat food truck. There's more.
Yeah, News Talk 1290 CJBK, Pure Country 93, where we're from, Roy's Family Restaurant, Virgin Radio, web.isod.es, and the Digital Creative Arts Center here at the Boys and Girls Club.